It's kind of amazing because I'm all the time trying to figure out ways how to express my deep understandings, and like some of the concepts that I'm coming up with are very, very like mind-blowing. It's like not simple things, and I'm trying to find ways how to put them into words. So for an example, yesterday night I wrote in like 5-6 lines the thoughts that I had, and then I figured it's gonna be very hard to understand. And then this morning I woke up, I sat with that text and I said, okay, I'll expand it a little bit, I'll break it down. And I just like in between the lines that I wrote, I added like 20 lines to the text. It's like I tripled the amount of lines like easily, and still when I thought, and so I was very happy, okay, yeah, now it's much clearer. But then I like thought about it during the day, and I said to myself like, whoa, there are still so many things that you, even though that it is like included in those words, but like, so I thought about this idea that the DNA of the person is containing and holding within, treasuring within all the person's history. Like people who makes DNA tests, so they're gonna see, yeah, you have 3% Jewish blood, you have 7% North African blood, like whatever. But like it's not completely precise, accurate, because they don't know the history. But really inside the DNA there is the complete information of who your body built from. Means that really, if you go back in history, there is a way, like Hashem, He knows that in your blood cells, in your skin, in your DNA, like there is exactly like the father and the grandfather and the great grandfather, and where he came from and who were his parents, like all the 100% complete information of who you are, who we are, is written in our DNA, like exactly like that. His name was Moshe and her name was Sarah, and like, and they lived together like in Africa, in that area, and like after 7 years they moved and they went on a boat, and like one of them like drowned, whatever, there were fires, like you have history. So like every one of us, like today, like a person, he lives in Chile, so he will say to himself like, okay, I'm from Chile, whatever. Like another way, I'm from Brazil, I'm from Mexico, I'm from New Guinea, I'm from the US, I'm American, I'm Israeli. Like everyone will. This is only the last layer of history, but all of us, we came from Adam Arishon. That's first thing. All of us, we came from Adam and Eve. Like, that's for sure. Now, Adam and Eve, that's the beginning. And that beginning was like two people. Okay, perfect. We were there. They multiplied. They brought children. They gave birth. They brought children to the world. We were there. You were in one family, I was in another family. Like already we separated, or maybe we were still in the same body, like for a few generations, like depends. And like there was Abraham, there was Yitzchak, there was Yaakov. If you believe that you're from the tribes of Israel, so you were in Abraham, and then you went through into Yitzchak, and then into Yaakov, and then one of the tribes. So then you might be from Asher, from Levi, from Gad, from Zvulun, from Naphtali, from Yehuda, from the rest of them, like all 12 tribes. So let's just for the idea, let's say that we are both from the tribe of Yehuda, that we're both like in the root, we both came from Yehuda. So we lived in Yehuda, but then Yehuda, he had few children. So from those few children, some of us came out and some of us from another. So let's say that we were also in the next child, let's say from Peretz or whatever. And we continued with him, and on and on and on. So like the circles are expanding and the families are growing, and the forgetfulness is hitting us so hard that you're gonna imagine that you're from Chile and I'm gonna imagine that I'm from Israel, but like in reality, we're all coming from the ancient root of who we are now. That is the physical DNA that can be recognized. You can see in your blood, you can see it on your skin. It's written. It's like it's inside. It's imprinted exactly inside who you are. If you were from the tribe of Yehuda, it can be seen. Maybe not in the laboratory. Maybe the doctors cannot track exactly from who. If it's from Yehuda or from Reuven or from Shimon or from Levi, but like they can tell that it's like from, but Hashem, He knows the history. The thing is that we been hit by that forgetfulness and we lose our minds and we don't know who we are. But the most beautiful thing is that we have an inner way to track who we are based on our spiritual DNA, based on the particles of our souls, because we are being reincarnated and coming back again and again over and over into this world with different sparks, with different parts of spirit. So for an example, it can be that a person has a spark of Rabbi Akiva inside of him, and he has a spark of Rachel, our mother, inside of him, and he can be a man but has feminine sparks inside of him that he needs to elevate and to correct. So you can have inside of you a certain rage that belongs to Tzipora, the wife of Moshe, and an enormous love that belongs to Aharon, that had huge Ahavat Torah and Ahavat Hashem. And it can be the opposite. You can have the love of Tzipora. Someone else can have the love of Tzipora, the wife of Moshe, and the dedication and the willingness and willing to sacrifice yourself from Aaron, or even the negative attributes, the fear, the pressure, the stress of those giants, of those pillars of the structure of our nation. Now, those are sparks inside of you, and a person should believe in his inner search of finding who he is by looking deep inside, and just like finding similarity to the Bible stories, to Yosef HaTzadik. Like, let's say that the tribes were lost, and thousands of people from the tribes of Israel found themselves being deported and excommunicated from the Holy Land of Israel. And they found themselves going into the deserts and into the forests and onto the sea, and from one land to the other, from one spot to the next. And the nature of their ancestors stayed with them. So let's say that today you're going to find a community in Afghanistan that they are shepherds, and they sell cattle and animals, goats and sheep, and that's what they do. And like, they do it in their way, because they got in their spiritual DNA the wisdom and nature of being a shepherd in the aspect of Yosef. So today they will be called Yosef Sai or Yosef Yusuf Sai, or like tribe, or like they will be called in a certain way, like Musa Sai, Moses, like, and they will feel related to him, and they will also gonna carry the spiritual DNA of his personality inside of them without even knowing. Like, they're gonna have culture of supporting the poor and like doing things that relate to Yosef. They will support the poor, they will be very wise, they're gonna have deep understandings about dreams in their culture, in their village, in their society, and not even knowing exactly why. A different person that is born from tribe of of Shimon, so they are such a strong tribe, and everyone are always scared of them, and they're warriors, and they're very gifted and talented in martial arts and shooting, and they're like always like to the point and scoring at the targets, and like they have that in blood, in their spiritual. So, and you look at yourself and you say to yourself, like, okay, I'm not that heroic, and I'm not such a hero, I'm not so powerful, I'm not that strong, and it's okay. You don't have to be like, oh, me, I am a descendant of Shimon. It can be that you are a messed up case, that you are a domestic case, that you are chaos, that you hold inside of yourself billions of particles, that some of them are coming from Yehuda, and some of them are coming from Ephraim, and some of them are coming from Naphtali, and some of them from different families in Naphtali, different families in Yehuda, different families in... Because that's how history went. If your father of like 2,000 years ago got married with a woman from a different tribe, and then their child found his way and got married with a woman from a tribe of Binyamin, and then they found their way and got married with another person, and on, and children, 5, and they separated and expanded and like, you as an individual, you swim your way until today somehow inside bodies of people, skipping from one generation to the next, and just every time that you're born, you forget the history of your earlier lifetime. But you are still Adam HaRishon and Chava Imenu that are jumping into Cain and Abel and the girls, and then to the next generation, through the next children, and then to that tribe, and then to the nation of Israel, and then to that like the soul is skipping while mating, while the father and mother are being together. The soul is passing from the father to the mother, and she is being conceived and pregnant, and then the soul, the spark of life inside her stomach is growing, her belly is growing, and getting stronger connection from the root of his soul from above, and other sparks from heaven, from righteous people from above, are attaching him. So he has that inner motor that is his soul, that he inherits from his parents, and then he's getting another outfit, another covering, another layer of sparks of souls that relate to his position and to his mission in that generation, and they're assisting him, like a soul of Rabbi Akiva, a soul of Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes, a soul of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, and it can be of people that are not famous at all, but has certain qualities and greatness inside of them. Let's say you're a chef, you're like, you love cooking and making food, and you make perfect food, and you love serving food, and like that's your thing. You don't and you struggle today. Can I do it? Can it be my profession? Can I pay for my living by being a chef? Like, and should I cook kosher food, not kosher food? It's hard to find meat. Like, all the struggles that a person can go through in life, in his like occupation, in his talent, in his reality, does not understand that also in the generation of Moshe, when Moshe sat with the elder ones, with Aharon, with Elazar and Itamar, the Kohanim, and the 70 elders, the head of the tribes, the princes of the tribes, everyone came, and there were 240 or 260 head of courts, of Jewish courthouses, and they all came. There was food on the tables. There were animals that were being given. Someone was cooking. There were chefs back then that were making the barbecues, that were grilling the meat, that were cutting the vegetables, that were washing the fruits, that were serving to the tables. Those are your ancestors. This is you. Like, you're a chef today. You're not a chef today. The light of that cook from 3,000 years ago, that was that gigantic chef that was cutting the melons to half and peeling them in a second and washing and serving on silver plates in the days of the temple, his soul went to the next level, and he was a chef too. And he was the chef in the 4th, in the 5th, in the 6th, in the 20th generation, and today, struggling with the confusions of the last generation. No, I want to work in a restaurant, but no, I still desire my Judaism. What should I do? Should I do? Shouldn't I do? Like all this mess, all this craziness, and you just don't track the reality of who in the world you are. You are that one. Like you're good with numbers, you have perfect memory, you're amazing in relationship, or you struggle with relationship. It can be from that relationship or that relationship. It can be on King David's table, and it can be on King Solomon's table. It can be from the story of Yerovam ben Nevat and Izebel, and it can be Elijah the prophet. Like you might be a descendant of those powerful people, and even if not from none of the prophets, it doesn't mean that your ancestors did not walk 3,000 years ago for 40 years in Egypt, and that your mother did not enter to the Holy Land of Israel, and she did, and her children, and it's you, but you don't remember that, and it passed from one generation to the next, and like, I'm trying to put all that wisdom into words, and that's not easy. That's not an easy thing.
My name is RDMC with the Muna Project, all the nations with me. Close your eyes, just breathe, see the truth. Don't chase the fake world, don't buy the fake news. Be yourself, your own true self. Don't let no one take our natural wealth. No fear, no despair. Cherish who that you are and share. Source of power from an endless spring. Light of courage. In yourself,
they can kick you down to the ground. Hold yourself up till you are, put up your crown. King of the creator, holy soul inside. Focus on the spirit.